For I will ever trust you, Jesus. Trust you, Jesus. Trust you with my life.
I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to look at this video, to investigate this material. This is the 5th year that Grace Church has had a time of fasting and prayer. We've done that at the beginning of the year. It seems like a good way to launch the year. Our theme this year is In God We Trust. It's taken from Psalm 37. Myself, along with Pastor David and Pastor Lynn and Kelly Graber, our children's director, has taken the time to put together some materials for you to use. It's a devotional, 21 days in here for your private use. You could use it in several different ways. You could use it individually, you could use it as a couple, or you could use it as a family. Kelly has done a wonderful job of putting together some supplemental materials to go along with this for you to use with your children and grow them in this fasting and prayer theme that we're doing here at Grace Church. Psalm 37 is a very unique psalm. And one of the uniqueness of it is this, that it follows along the Hebrew alphabet, so it's an acrostic with just a few exceptions. It does that. It's not your typical prayer or praise psalm. It's more of a wisdom psalm. It would fit very well into the book of Proverbs. And so the writer takes some Proverbs and he makes some statements, and then the overall theme that comes out of these 41 verses is, In God We Trust. And so that is our theme for this time of fasting and prayer. God has used King David to write the psalm, and he's writing in the later part of his life, so he's writing out of a wealth of knowledge from life experience, and also under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. He's writing to me and to you to encourage us in our walk with God. And he does that by talking about contentment, about trusting God. And he puts before us the wicked in the world that seem to prosper. It doesn't take a genius to look at what's going on in our world to come up with a conclusion that sometimes life just doesn't seem to be fair. Those who work really hard have very little. Some who hardly swat at a fly have more money than they know what to do with. Sometimes smokers never get lung cancer. Those who don't do. And so it just doesn't seem to be fair. But we know that life is not judged on fairness. God has designed life for us to experience Him. And so that's what the psalmist does here. He takes and answers the question, what does faith in God mean in a world where wickedness seems to sometimes pay handsome dividends? Let me say that again. What does faith in God mean in a world where wickedness sometimes seems to pay handsome dividends? And then he goes on to answer that question. And contentment, which can be translated trusting in God, is the major theme. He starts out the psalm by saying, don't fret yourselves because of evildoers. Don't be envious of wrongdoers. And then he goes on to tell us exactly why we shouldn't do that and how we shouldn't do that. The theme is really, In God We Trust. Phil Tuttle, a number of years ago, said to us when he was preaching here, what would happen in your life that would make you completely content? In other words, what is that one thing that would take place that you would never want another thing? Well, that is what the psalm is talking about, and it's pointing us toward understanding that God has our back. The psalm is broken up, and you can break it up into 4 divisions. We have done that as we have written the devotional. The psalmist addresses the theme of greed and power and hungry and the suffering of the righteousness. And so we've broken it up, and God blesses the righteous, God upholds the righteous, God delivers the righteous, and God is the stronghold of the righteous. And so we come again at the end, I'm going to say it again, In God we trust. As I have thought about this time and what we're going to be doing here, I've had a recurring thought. I don't like the conclusion to my thought. The thought is this: I wonder how many life opportunities or ministry opportunities I have missed because I failed to pray. I don't like my answer to that question. And yet, at the same time, I am so thankful, church, that God is a God of grace, God is a God of mercy, and God helps me redeem the past. And when I commit the future to Him in prayer and fasting and seek Him, then it's He that brings contentment into our lives. It's in Him that we trust. Paul says to the Philippians, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is very true. God can do far beyond anything that you think or anything that you ask. Believe it, church. Trust in it. My earnest prayer for you during this time is that God would do something very unique and very special in your life as you seek Him, as you fast, as you pray, as you say, God, I trust You for everything that I need in life, and then be content in that. I'm praying for you. Many blessings to each one of you.
For I will